Hi there, Leslie here, and today I'd like to talk about how we can protect ourselves from coronavirus when we travel. There is a lot of information about how contagious this illness is, and yet, nevertheless, there are just times when we do need to travel, either to help a loved one who's very far away, or simply to go get medicines or food within our communities. So what are the best ways to protect ourselves? Well, according to the journal BMC Infectious Diseases, respiratory influenza tends to spread in transport hubs. That would be bus stations, train stations, airports. In these places, you are 6 times, your chances of catching a respiratory influenza are 6 times greater than if you don't frequent them. But again, what do we do if we have to travel? Try and use less frequented lines. Try to use them at off-peak hours when there are fewer people. Avoid touching high-touch railings or handles if you're trying to steady yourself in the train. Perhaps wear gloves. Do anything to avoid touching anything that has high likelihood of others having touched it. And of course, if you can avoid the main transport hubs that are busiest, you will decrease your chances of catching a disease like this. Now, what about air travel? There's been a lot of attention drawn to air travel, not just now, but also during the 2003 SARS influenza. We had something similar where just one airplane passenger infected 25 others, including someone who was 7 rows away from him. So Emory University in the United States has actually done a study which showed where you want to be in a plane. And so you can see here that where you want to be is in the middle of the plane, and you want to get a window seat and stay in that window seat if you can. So I know that's not always easy for those of us who are over 50, who are women, because, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But if you can go on shorter duration flights where you don't have to get up and use the toilet, that's one strategy. Simply stay in that seat. We do know that passengers who go up and down the aisle, from the same study, there is an opportunity for them, should they cough or sneeze, for them to pass it to others. I would hope that anyone who is ill is not traveling at this time or wearing some kind of a mask to protect themselves from infecting others. Another place in the plane that's high touch, where you can leave traces of an infection, would be the toilets. And the Centers for Disease Control in the United States have encouraged all of us to wash our hands properly so that we can, even if we do come in contact with that, with those infectious diseases, we don't actually bring them to the T-zone, which are eyes, nose, mouth. And those are the entry points for infection. When we touch with our hands, we've got some infection, and then we put it near mucosa. That's an entry point for the flu. So wash your hands for 20 seconds. Why 20 seconds? It's because you need 4 seconds for 5 different areas, right? Get some soap, and unbelievably, studies show not everybody uses soap. Get some soap, use your nails, do in between your fingers, do all the way around, getting the wrist, and do your thumbs. People forget the thumbs all the time. So make sure you get all of those areas, and then try and touch your face as little as possible. So the majority of us will touch our faces 20 to 30 times an hour. All opportunities for infection to spread into the mucous membranes. So what about not just in the plane, but the airport itself? Because we've talked about transport hubs being where great risk is. Turns out that pharmacy PIN pads, where you pay with your credit card and you're putting in the PIN code for your credit card, or you're signing your name. Sick people who are about to get on a plane go to pharmacies to buy tissues, to get medicine, and they pay for their items there. That turns out to be a hub for germs. The other place, and a place that really horrified me, are those plastic luggage trays that you put your luggage and shoes and laptops into when they go through security. Oh my goodness, this is pretty scary. Well, first of all, they don't usually get washed, number one. Number two, you're putting your shoes there, right? Who knows what has been picked up on your shoes? Turns out that 50% of those trays have at least one, they have traces of at least one respiratory illness, either cold or flu. They are dirtier than airport toilets, according to a University of Nottingham study that was conducted together with the Finnish Institute of Health and Welfare. That is just gross. I shudder to think of the many times that I've used those and did not wash my hands afterwards. So the point is, wash your hands. In fact, the best thing to do is as soon as you're done touching that tray, get some hand sanitizer out, right? Just minimize your opportunity for infection. Get that hand sanitizer out. I know it's not that pleasant. Then go straight to the bathroom, wash your hands. And that is a good way to protect yourself. So I hope that I've given you some tips. I almost forgot. Walk. It's great exercise, right? We know that we all need to get out, get fresh air, and need to move a little to stay healthy. Whatever you do, if you can walk there instead of taking the bus, if you can cycle there instead of taking the train, do that instead. So here's wishing you to be safe and healthy, and I'll be bringing other tips to you on how you can protect yourself from coronavirus coming soon. Thanks so much for watching.